our 3-day harvest of passion fruits. So it's official. The first annual passion fruit cutting giveaway is going on right now. We just launched it on September 1st, just 2 days ago, and it was such a huge success that we're gonna make it an annual event. So every September 1st, we're gonna be putting out a promotion that's gonna tie in some passion fruit cuttings with your purchase of the Ivory Organics products. And what I wanna emphasize today is that we've got a sale on these small 6 Macro Plus bags, which are I'll bring this over to you, the 6 Macros Plus Super Blend. This one here makes up to 20 gallons using 1 tablespoon per gallon of water, or the Premium Blend makes 20 gallons, and this one over here is 11.8 ounces. These are the bags you're looking for. These are 50% off right now and only for this month. So do take advantage of the fact that these products are being offered to you at 50% off. The great thing about the 6 Macros Plus Fertilizer products is that they have all of the macronutrients plants need, and pretty much all the fertilizers that are sitting on the shelf right now are only focused on NPK, and that's your nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, but that's only half the story. 6 Macros Plus has all of the 6 macronutrients plants need, and that's what makes 6 Macros Plus fertilizers so unique. It's giving the plants everything, and with it you can expect optimal growth performance, maximum yields, and just perfect performance. And so we're really excited about these fertilizers, but we're sitting on a ton of this product that needs to clear out this month. And we really appreciate your support from 2 days ago when we first announced this launch, and the emphasis with this and with all of those cuttings that are going out. And I want to share with you, do note how much passion vine that I've got behind me. And we're going to take a tour to the 2 primary passion fruit vines that I've got here in the garden. And I'm going to be increasing the supply for next year. And we've had more in the past, but I just want to share with you how quickly this is all going to disappear, as I'm going to cut it out to pretty much incorporate with all of your purchases of these smaller bags of the 6 Macros Plus Fertilizer. Again, being the 11.8 ounce bags. The promo code is going to be here on the page, down in the comments below. And if you go to ivorganics.com, that's the website where you'll find these products and the promo code to take advantage of not just the discount on this, but there's a 20% off sale for the entire month of September as well that you'll find there. So in addition to the 50% off sale on these 6 Macros Plus Fertilizer bags, there's also a 20% off sale on the entire Ivory Organics brand products. So this is an excellent time to get your hands on the Ivory Organic brand products. And what I want to share with you today is specifically how to prepare your cuttings. And this applies for passion fruits as well as pretty much any other cuttings, including your fig cuttings, that hopefully you'll be doing with me come February for what's going to be now, I believe, our 3rd annual fig cutting giveaway. And we'll talk about the rules as we get closer to December, January. But I want to talk about soil medium and preparing the soil for maximum optimal growth, roots, and ultimately growth and success with your cuttings. So I want to share with you from my experience as well as a lot of the comments and things I've learned from you. And that's what we're going to do quickly in this short segment today. And also I want to share with you that this video is only going to be temporarily posted through the end of this month because we're discussing a sale, and I don't want to confuse customers or viewers going to be watching this video come October, November. So this video is only going to be available through the end of September 2019, and then it's going to be deleted. So be sure to take any content, write your notes, and again, I'll try to have some other follow-ups that are not related to a sale that maybe can rest on the Ivory Organics YouTube channel permanently. So the topic I want to share with you today is on preparing your potting soil for maximum success with your cutting and rooting successes. So let's get started with that. So when it comes to preparing your soil mix, there's a lot of choices out there. You can go, for example, to the local box store and you can find a potting mix and get your hands on that. The one thing I want to steer you very clear away from is just going for a compost blend, as there's going to be a lot of organic material in that. We're going to talk about that in just a second. If you take a look at some of these cuttings over here, you can see that the soil, and I'm going to talk about watering in a second, but you can see there's a lot of green happening on the top of the soil. The reason is we used a potting mix that had a lot of organic material in here. You can see that it's definitely got some peat moss in there, and you can see these white flakes. We're going to talk about that in a second. This here is known as perlite, There's probably some vermiculite in here, but it's got, I would say, a solid 50% organic material in there. And as that organic product is breaking down, it's leading to rot. And when it comes to your cuttings, the biggest detriment to your cuttings is rot. That's what's gonna kill it. And as you can take a look here, here's another set of two. We got success with one. The second one is dying back, and I would say, again, more likely due to rot than anything else. So the thing is, you gotta start off with a good potting mix. The other thing too with these cups, you can see that there's some red cups. My favorite cups are the clear cups because I can also see if there's any root activity happening, you know, from day to day or as often as I frequent these cuttings. And the clear cups will allow you an opportunity to see if there's any root development happening within the cup. And you can see that all of these are green on the surface. As I used with the ones that are remaining, I had about 20 to 30 of these cups earlier, but the ones that are remaining are the ones that I used a traditional potting mix blend. Again, I told you guys, do not go with the compost blend for your cuttings, again, because you don't want the rotting happening within the compost to pass the disease and rot. You know, it's basically gonna rot your cuttings as well. So the better way to prepare your potting mix for all of you that are gonna hopefully get your hands on these passion fruit cuttings is, and I don't think I made this clear, but I'm gonna put the entire sale and the giveaway and the whole promotion towards the end of this video, what was published already. But basically, once you buy one of these smaller bags of fertilizer, it also includes 2 passion fruit vine cuttings from my garden. So you're basically gonna get those cuttings with your purchase of the Ivory Organic 6 Macros Plus 11.8 ounce bags, and it's 2 cuttings per purchase. So the more bags you buy, the more cuttings you get. So keep that in mind if you want to get your hands on a few more cuttings to increase your chances of successes, and you're going to help us unload a ton of fertilizer. We really appreciate that as well. So let's discuss your potting mix. My greatest success when preparing your potting mixes is using a combination of perlite, which looks like snow, and let's take a look at it real quick. It says improves drainage and prevents soil compaction. And then the other product is vermiculite. And vermiculite, let's read some of the highlights over here. It says improves moisture and nutrient retention, aids in faster seed germination, prevents soil compaction, and increases aeration. And the point with this is, unlike compost, and this here is the vermiculite, it's a little wet, but it pretty much looks like fool's gold. And the thing that's unique about using a combination of vermiculite, perlite, or even one or the other, but I like doing a 50% mix, as the perlite's generally a little bit more coarse, the vermiculite a little bit more fine, and it just helps maximize contact with the cutting to help make sure that it stays moisturized as it pretty much heals and eventually roots and begins to grow. But perlite and vermiculite, unlike peat moss that is derived from compost and breaks down, these things don't break down. They're basically mineral based and they'll last pretty much indefinitely. So that's the value of perlite and vermiculite, is it's not going to cause your cuttings to rot as would peat moss and other compost materials. And so my greatest success, as I mentioned earlier, I had about 20 other cups which I've given away already to friends and family, because the ones I put in perlite, vermiculite, 50% each, rooted faster and were just healthier cuttings. And so I gave those away so that they would enjoy rapid success in their plantings in their garden. So what we're gonna do here is simply take some, I'm pretty much starting off with my cup over here. You can see I've already notched a couple of cuts here at the bottom of the plastic cup. I'm just gonna do that so you can see how I've accomplished those notches, but you're only gonna want about 1 to 3, 4 notches. And then from there, we're gonna pretty much add some perlite and vermiculite and more perlite and more vermiculite. And you can see it's not a real science, and I didn't quite mix it, so I'm gonna simply put it up here at the top of the bag. Try to get that all mixed together, and you can see the consistency now of what it is. So there's my perlite vermiculite mix, and we're gonna fill up the cup like so. What we're gonna do now is prepare a cutting, and this is what I'm doing for all of you. I'm trying to include one tip. So this here is a tip off the passion fruit, and take a look at how beautiful these fruit are. Oh, again, once they start getting some color, there's some sweetness, and they're actually ready to eat. But if you wait another day or two, they start getting a lot more orange in color, which you'll see in a subsequent video. We picked about 50 of them about 2 days ago. We're probably gonna harvest about another 10 to 20 today. And you can see, oh, here's another one also set on the table. So you can see the coloration of the fruit, but they start off with this green color, and you can see that it's loaded with passion fruit behind it. If I can just pull it off the wall, you can see all that passion fruit. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna cut off this tip over here. So one of the buyers of the Ivory Organic 6 Macros Plus, again, either super or premium blend 11.8 ounce bag, is gonna get 2 of these cuttings with their order today. I'm simply taking off, I took off that lower leaf, I'm taking off that little flower bud, I'm taking off the tendril, and again, taking off tendril, taking off flower bud, cutting the leaf in half, like so, and that's again to reduce the loss of moisture from the plant, and we're keeping the leaf also because it's gonna also help with all the metabolic processes to encourage also rooting, as the leaves carry the auxins that'll travel down the stem and push roots out. So internally, the plant's gonna be trying to encourage root development as well. So we prepared the cutting like so. I'm gonna make sure that the tip is cut at an angle to maximize on the absorption of water and minerals. And then I'm going to scar the base like so. So we're gonna try to include 1 tip, as well as I'm now gonna try to get stem as well. So this here is gonna be a midsection, and we're gonna prepare it again like so. I'm cutting it again at the node right above the leaf, about a 1/4 inch off the top. I'm cutting all of these leaves in half, like so. And again, we're gonna cut the base at an angle and scar it. And now let's dip it in this rooting hormone. And again, when it comes to rooting hormone, there's one thing about encouraging roots with a rooting hormone or a rooting powder, but other things that you can use that are more natural also include using cinnamon as well as honey. And the secret behind them is not so much that they encourage root development, but the secret behind a rooting powder is also that it inhibits mold and mildew and rot. And that's key, and that's the reason that when it comes to your potting mix, not to use a potting mix that has organic, that's gonna break down and rot and contribute to rot of your cuttings, because this is now pretty much a dead stem. We wanna keep it alive long enough for it to root. And so this powder that we're putting on here is pretty much inhibiting rotting happening at the cutting surface long enough for it to push out the roots, and that's gonna lead to success. And we'll do the same thing here with this cutting as well. And so we're just dipping that lower tip, and now we can just simply, I'm just going here with my scissors to make it a lot easier for it to get down there so that rooting powder doesn't wash off. And we can do the same thing right here too. And we can add a little bit more soil. And now we're gonna put it up here in the tray alongside these other cuttings that we prepared about 2 weeks ago. So the next thing we can do is now water the cutting. And keep in mind again that it's not gonna come in a cup with the soil. I'm just giving you the tips on what soil medium to use. It's simply gonna come with your 2 cuttings per purchase of the 11.8 ounce bag. Just wanna make sure that I've got that clear. And now that we've got the soil medium, the next thing to do is water. So we're simply gonna go with our watering can here, and I'm just gonna be watering the soil down. You'll notice that I've got it in a tray. The water just quickly passed through all of these other cuttings, and as wet and damp as you see again, that soil. And it was last watered about 2 days ago, and it wasn't even watered from the top. We watered all of these cuttings from this point forward from the bottom. So what I'm gonna take here now is with my watering can, and take a look here, we've got this tray. And so here we are now just simply filling up the tray to the rim. And now I just wanna make sure that the bottoms, and that was the reason that we cut little slits at the bottom, is the water is gonna be basically absorbed from the bottom up. And that actually helps the plant also in rooting successfully. So this here is kind of like the deep end. So I'm putting them all here, and they'll soak for about a day, and I'll let them dry. It takes about, at least for me, about 2 days for them to dry out And again, the goal is never to allow them to dry out completely. The goal is just for the soil to not turn green like this is happening, and that's going to lead to more problems for the plant, and it's definitely going to affect your success rate and also the overall growth rate. So you never want the soil turning green like the way you've seen on some of these examples. The perlite vermiculite mix will more likely avoid that risk, and plus you're going to see faster rooting. Again, that's been my experience for many years now, and I'm hoping you also experience that same success with your cuttings. Additionally, in addition to watering from below, what I have here is also just a spray bottle of water. And whenever I come to visit the plants, whether it be morning, afternoon, or evening, and if it's 3 times a day, come by and spray your plants as well. The goal is to keep them hydrated, keep them moist, just as you can see here. And one additional thing that'll also help is to spray, at least initially, and I wish I showed you before I sprayed it, but if you take a look here at the leaf, you can see that when I prepared the cutting initially, you can see that there's a little bit of white film that's on the surface, and that's because we sprayed the leaves with this product over here, being the Ivory Organic 3-in-1 Plant Guard Ready to Use Spray. Protection against damaging sunburn, insects, and rodents. For use on your roses, fruit, nut trees, ornamental trees, and shrubs. For use in organic production. And healthier than latex paint and tar-based products, predominantly because it's a porous product and it's also obviously organic compared to latex paint and tar. And this here is going to help the plant also better retain moisture and reflect some of that excess heat, so it's less stressed despite all that we just did to the cutting. So what we're going to do here is, especially for the new one, because all the ones in the back have already been sprayed, but we're going to spray the new plant as well. Like so, and you can now see I've got like a very light film of sunscreen on the plant, and that's also going to help also with transplant shock later on when we go to moving the plant. And even with these other plants that have now been coated with the Ivory Organics foliar spray, we can still continue to spray them. If we're going to do any foliar feeding, which I don't recommend doing until you see some roots, and also use a very dilute ratio, maybe 1/2 to as little as 1/10, and just do it more frequently, being once a week or every other week, until it gets larger and more established as you get closer to the recommended dose of feeding your plants. I hope you found this lesson informative and educational, and again, make sure you take your notes because this video is coming down on September 30th. I just wanted to share this to all those receiving the cuttings, and whether you're doing cuttings on your passion fruit or your fig tree or your pomegranates or your grapevines or whatever you're doing and you're propagating successes, again, my lesson to you is vermiculite, perlite, or even one or the other. I know a lot of you have a lot of successes just using one, but steering more away from a potting mix that has peat moss and other compost materials in it. Again, the point being is those are going to break down and rot, and that's going to contribute toward the rot of your cuttings. And again, you're going to enjoy better success and better success rates using a mineral-based potting soil such as vermiculite or perlite, or the combination of the two as we did here today. So take one more look at this passion fruit vine behind me, starting over here in the corner of the wall alongside this potted fig tree that I've got here, and then going all the way down to our property line. So we've got about, I'd say, 20 feet, maybe 25 feet of passion fruit vines that we're going to be propagating and sending to you with your orders of the Ivory Organic 6 Macros Plus Super or Premium Blend 11.8 ounce bags. And now enjoy the rest of the segment on the Ivory Organic sale that was published on September 1st, just 2 days ago. And again, because of your support and the success that we've had, we're going to make this an annual thing. So if you've caught it at the end, or if we ran out of product or materials or cuttings, then it'll be next year, September, that will bring this sale and this opportunity back to you. So while supplies last, get your hands on this product, take advantage of this sale, and wishing you all happy gardening.
Fertilizer.